I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back in with another video, and this is going to be update number 61 of the Starkiller base mock build series. Before we get into the mock, I first want to give a very special thanks to those of you who contributed to the live streams via Super Chat. I really appreciate you guys every single time. We have quite a list today, so let's go ahead and get through it. We had Brickopotamus, LockedDoor, LordoftheBRix, KultofChristiansen, ThrasherASMR, Rebel Friend Films, BrickPlug, Francis, TheBrickWiz, Xavier Sorrent, Brent's Bricks, Jamie Dore, Fusion, Mando Network, LEGGO Myke, and Mishpat Two. Thank you guys so much. You really do help make this mock possible. And if you guys are not tuning into the live streams, I definitely urge you to do so. I feel like I've had a bit of a streak lately with some pretty memorable streams. So if you haven't done it before, just browse, just come through, see what we're all about. I can almost promise you, you will not be disappointed at the fun that we have on those live streams. This week, I started working on a building in the Trent section. As you know, we've been working on the Trent section in Starkiller base, and we're basically just trying to start getting some things built up around it. The ground is mostly done with the pipes, but this week I really wanted to make it a point to start working on some buildings around the trench. So you guys are going to see that come to life. Super excited about it. Let's go ahead and jump right into the build. All right, guys, we're back again checking out Starkiller. And the first thing I wanted to update you on were some cool things that have changed about this trench section. So the pipes are finally done. You can see if we take a look on the other side, we have that other row of pipes. Those are looking pretty good. Makes me so happy. I spent a ridiculous amount of money to acquire all those parts, but now that it's done, I can kind of put it behind me, not worry about it. That's very fulfilling. I'm so done with not having enough of these pipe parts to finish this section. Another thing I did was added a little bit of color in this. Well, not really color, it's gray. But basically I took some of these 4x4 macaronis in light bluish gray, and I added them into this section just to represent a little bit of discoloration. And I think that the entire Trent section looks better because of it. When we first started out, it was just mostly, a very long dark red section, but added these rings in and added some discoloration in there to kind of break it up and basically just give it a more lived-in aesthetic. That makes me super happy. So the next thing we're going to be working on is actually building up the walls. I considered working on the floor this update, but I'm still kind of undecided on what I want to do with it. I have a decent amount of gray 2x2 tiles, but I'm definitely not going to have enough to finish this whole thing off. So I think I'm going to hold off on that until I decide, I don't know if I'm going to order more, if I want to go to a different color, if I want to have snow down here, because I have a ton of white tiles. But if you look at the scene, there's not a ton of snow down there. Now, I'm not beholden to that. I'm not going to, spend too much more money than I have to. I might just decide to do big patches of snow kind of throughout this thing. I think that'd also just make it look kind of cool to just have, the white kind of break up a lot of the grays that are going to be in this trench section. So we'll see. I'm still thinking about that. We'll figure it out. But until then, I do want to work on the walls. So my first order of business with this wall section is going to be this building right here. I'm going to build this thing. I think it's a really cool design. I think it'll look really unique, kind of jutting out of the wall and then coming down. It's kind of hard to tell, but the building is actually just this part and then that part in the top section. There's this giant hole kind of underneath it. You can see that red pipe, which is basically along the wall kind of going through it. But yeah, this right here is not actually part of the building. That's actually the wall behind it. The building is this section right here. So it'll be a very interesting thing to build, I think. I think it's going to be pretty fun to see this thing come together. I actually began doing a little bit of prototyping over here, and I am actually super happy with the way this design came out. So the goal was basically to figure out how I could get, this sloped section, and then have this wall that's kind of meeting the edges of both of them. I wanted to make it really nice and clean, so not too many gaps. And I think I came up with a pretty awesome looking solution. Probably the most difficult part about this was finishing off the bottom section, just because there's this weird angle at the top and bottom right here that you kind of have to try to finish off. I opted for this 2x4 wedge plate. It's not perfect. There's still a little bit of a gap down there, but I think it'll work for this. And we're working with such limited space right here that I think it actually came out pretty well. The nice thing about using these panels on either side is you get a nice, you know, really close finish. So like this meets up almost perfectly with that slope, and then you get basically the same effect on this side. So really happy with this. This part right here, you know, there's still some colors I'm going to swap out. And of course, that's all going to be hidden for the people who don't understand how prototyping works. But this wall right here is basically going to be this wall right here. So we're going to bring this back section back a little bit. I got some 1x1 cylinder pieces kind of for the piping in there. So I bought some of these bad boys. Those are hopefully going to help me be able to finish that off. And then up top, I think the design's pretty simple. That building doesn't look too complex. I think it'll be a pretty straightforward thing to try to implement. But this bottom section for sure was the one that I really wanted to get right, because I've been kind of thinking about this technique and it ended up working out. So now that I have this figured out, I'm going to basically actually finish off this back section, you know, get rid of those colored bricks, have a wall come out this way, and then put this basically on the other side, and then maybe even build up a little structure for the back that'll connect to the wall behind it. And then we'll catch back up with you and then see how we can progress forward with the MOC. One last thing I did want to show you about this, though, before I forget, is kind of how everything connects in the back, because I'm using some pretty interesting techniques right here. Now, those of you who are not fans of illegal building techniques, close your eyes. Close your eyes. I used a minifig hand right here to get that 1x1 tile to connect to the 2x4 wedge plate, which was super necessary because you can see, like, I'm working with very limited space in here. You know, I couldn't put like a 1x2 plate or something, because that would basically mess up the spacing between the 1x1 tile and the slope right here. It would kind of push it out too far that way. So this actually worked out really well to still get a nice flush looking angle that lines up pretty, not perfectly, but pretty well with this front slope right here. You know, it doesn't stick out too much. Another thing I did to basically connect that entire assembly to this section is there's like a ball joint in there. You can kind of see it, and it's pretty simple connection that I came up with. So the ball joint kind of keeps it in here, it keeps it angled. It's not going to go anywhere. Makes me super happy because I think this is going to be a really nice looking building. So there's your look at the prototype. I'm going to fix the colors. I want to actually start building out the other side, and I'll catch back up with you guys. So let's get started. Check this out, guys. Your boy been putting in work. I think the bottom section of this building is looking so good. You can see that with the colors actually correct. And yes, those white stripes are supposed to be there. If we take a look at the reference material, there's some white stripes, so that's why I added them, before anyone asked. But other than that, you can see these angles just worked out so perfectly, and we even have the angles on the other side. I think that looks incredible. Super happy with the way this came out. Even got the piping that goes along the sides here. Looks pretty good to me. We move to the top section. This is where I've been doing most of the work on this thing. This thing is just, I wanted to do some kind of interesting angles here, you know, just something to kind of spice it up, show that, yes, I do try to add as much detail into these as possible. So that's kind of how I came up with this window design to kind of taper in towards the front. And this is actually connected with a ball joint, so you can see it's angled in a couple of ways, so that works out pretty nicely. And I think it just all looks really good. The next thing I need to do is add a roof to this, and there's like an antenna and maybe a few other things that sit on top of it. One thing that I'm going to have to do is actually tile off the reverse side of this. As of now, there's literally nothing in there. I was hoping that whenever the wall is built up here, you wouldn't be able to kind of peek your head around to see in there. But that's not the case. You can absolutely see right into there, even with the wall being built here. So I'm going to make sure I covered that off so there's no, you know, unsightly, unfinished looking areas, and we'll be good to go from there. I'm thinking that we're probably not going to get to the back wall section for this update. I'm thinking if I can just, you know, build this out a little bit, add a ceiling to this, I think that'd be a great stopping point. So that is what I'm going to try to do. So this is what we have so far. Let's see what we can do about this roof section, and hopefully it comes out good. And look at us now. We have a roof on top of this building, and I'm very happy with it. One thing I want to point out right after that is the satellite. I don't know why, but I think it looks pretty awesome. Use that ski piece as well as those two like road sign pieces, and the other like ski stick piece. Can you tell that I'm obsessed with that piece right now? I ordered a bunch from BrickPlug recently, and they're just so useful for greebling. So that right there actually came out super nicely. As for the rest of the building, you can see I decided to finish off the sides with this like arch piece. I think that looks nice. It's just another little nice piece of detail. You usually end up with a lot of sharp corners on these first order builds, so I decided to do something a little bit different, kind of smooth it off on the edges. And it actually looks kind of nice, especially when you zoom out, get a decent look at both sides of the building. I'm pretty happy with it. Just to give you guys a pulled back view, this is what it's looking like. Kind of looks like a weird, mysterious, just levitating building considering there's nothing under it on that side. I really cannot wait to see what it looks like with the wall behind it. And I might even throw like a pipe going between it. As a continuation of my poor math skills, I ended up with these extra pipe pieces, and I didn't want to do this. These are expensive. I didn't want to buy more than I had to, but, you know, my math skills have once again failed me. So I ended up with these, and now I am tempted to buy more to have like a pipe going behind this, similar to the reference material photo that you can see right there. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to, you know, rush to do that right now, but who knows? Maybe I will. I might just place that order right after this video. Anyways, it would be pretty cool to see that pipe behind it. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see what my mood is. But altogether, I am pretty happy with this building right here. I tried to incorporate a lot of angles into it. That was really my goal with it. Like this section here, this section in here, even the top section a little bit. And it actually came out pretty well. So last thing I want to show you guys for this update, we're going to place this near the pipe trench section. We'll get a look at kind of what it looks like as part of the larger scale of the build, and we'll be done for this week. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh man, look at this. Look at how cool this looks. We have it placed actually opposite to where it's going to be. It's actually going to end up on this side of the trench, but I decided to put it over there so I could get some better camera angles just with it sitting right here for now. But I'm very happy with this. This looks so freaking cool. The trench is starting to actually take form. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that, like, you know, you started off on the complete other side of the MOC, and now I am working on the trench. That just really makes me happy because this was one of the things I was most excited about with building this MOC when I was first just deciding what I was even going to include in this MOC. I was like, I had to have the trench, and it is finally becoming a reality. We got our building over there posted up. There's basically going to be that building here, and there's going to be like a turret building over here. I want to leave this area kind of clean and this area kind of clean, mostly just because I want to have enough space for like the ships to be flying through the middle. I have my handy dandy X-Wing right here, and before another person asked, yes, I know that this is not the X-Wing that they use in this movie. I was shocked by the amount of comments in the last video of people saying, hey Jay, you know it's the black and orange version that's supposed to be here. Yes, I am perfectly aware. I'm just using this one because my other one is up there and it's strung up. I don't want to have to take it down. It's chilling up on that shelf. So this is the easiest one to access. Hopefully you guys understand. But nonetheless, this is kind of a good idea for the scale. There's probably going to be a TIE fighter back here on this side of this. The X-Wing will probably be closer up here. May try to add in a second TIE fighter. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see what the space is looking like. I don't want to overcrowd this area with ships. I know worst case scenario, though, I will be able to have at least, you know, an X-Wing and a TIE fighter, which is exactly what I want here. And it's going to look pretty awesome, guys. Like, hopefully you guys can just get a good glimpse of just how cool this trench is going to be. Another thing I want to point out before we head out is that's actually not going to be the height of the trench. The trench is going to be quite a bit taller than that. Like, it'll maybe be right above where that antenna is. This section is just not supposed to be as tall as the trench. Like, if we look back at the reference material, we can see this building does not meet up with the top of the trench. You can see there's still quite a bit of space above it. So that was kind of my thought process in deciding how tall I wanted that to be. But it is still very big. Like, that is a very big section that I got done for this week's build. And I'm super happy with it. So another look at the entirety of the trench, another look at the building. And that's all I got for you guys. Let's move to the end of the video. And that's going to finish the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Starkiller once more. Definitely let me know in the comment section below what you're thinking about this pretty cool building that I've been working on. I'm pretty proud of it, honestly. I think it looks very close to what you see, and you know, the split second that the X-Wings zoom past it in the trench. And I think it's going to be a very cool part of the trench once we start getting more walls built up around it. My goal for the next update is going to be, for number one, to get the wall built up behind this. I think that's probably going to be my number one thing. And I'll probably start working on the wall that sits right next to it. I'm probably just going to progress through these trenches like one side at a time. So like I built this, I'm going to build like the section next to it and then the section right next to it, and then we'll switch over to the other side just so I can make sure everything lines up. And also it's a lot easier for me to like set everything up on this one table I have for like one side of the trench, as opposed to like going opposite sides, and I just wouldn't be able to see all of it together on this table in front of me. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and hopefully you're enjoying this build progress as much as I am. So with that being said, guys, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.